Yeah. Hey, I seen you yesterday. Glad to see you. Well, God's testing us today for sure. We have a little incident going on in the back door here, and there's an incident going on in the north end of town, and Betty and I was like, maybe we ought to turn around and go back home here. Okay. Yeah, well, like Pastor Jesse said, I was part of the committee to pick a new pastor. And I'll just start off here with saying that change, it's a word with an action that happens every day. Some changes are for the good and some not. Sometimes we can have an impact on the change. For instance, in the way we live our lives and how others view us. I've been coming to CrossRoads for over 20 years, and although I don't like change, that was the reason I started coming to church. I needed a change in my life, just like we all do. As Pastor Jesse said last week, Bishop Ron has been the only real and steadfast pastor I've had in my life. His teaching of the Bible, the relaxed church environment, and of course the classic rock and roll band, worship band, has made me feel comfortable and welcomed. So when Ron started to make plans for his impending retirement, it hit home to me that my church is going to change. Those of us who are board members, we were tasked over a year ago or so to start reading the book Next, which deals with the succession plan for a church's next pastor. It has some very good helpful insights and plans on what to do and not to do when searching for your next pastor. One of the plans dealt with the idea of having an associate pastor that would deal with the administrative aspects of the church, because we all know how Ron likes to do paperwork. And the head pastor could deal with the pastoral duties. This church is blessed with some very good associate pastors in Ron Kramer and Mark Brown. And the idea appealed to Bishop Ron, then Pastor Ron, and the board. All this was going to happen in 2 years when Ron's retirement was announced, but then that good old change came knocking on the door. As we all know now, the bishop position became available. Ron's name was put in the hat and pulled out, which his name was probably the only one in there anyway. And our 2-year easy transition came down to a year finding members to fill a search committee and then people to interview. As always, with God's help, a dedicated and godly committed group of individuals was formed, and we came together, did interviews, and prayed over some outstanding candidates. It was also around this time that Pastor Jesse heard God and Bishop Ron's call to throw his name in the ring. I have to say, and I'm only speaking for myself here, that when Pastor Jesse put his name in, I felt comfortable that a change or a fit had been made for CrossRoads. Now, I'm not going to lie about this because I'm in church, but there was some bias towards picking Jesse just because he was one of us. However, in the interview process, for me, there was one family that was giving him the run for the money, and we still have their name and number on speed dial, so you better... A few years back, I was bored one day and decided to have a tractor and a mower run over me. I figured, what the heck, never done that before, so let's try it. Through that whole ordeal, I had this reassuring feeling that everything was going to be all right. God was with me and comforted me through my pain. He was giving me some pain, though, to remind me that stupid should hurt, but he was taking the rest. Whenever I would sit down and weigh the pros and cons between Jesse and the other candidate, the decision that I thought would be easy became difficult. In my mind, there was only one issue that had me concerned with choosing the other couple. And I talked with other members about this, and one person I confided in said to me that this feeling of uneasiness is God telling you not to go with your gut feeling, but to go with the calmness that you feel when praying and talking about who you want. In other words, go with God, who God put in your heart. Go with what's in your heart. I have always felt the need to read the Bible. Never done it. So when Bishop Ron started his path of change, I decided to change my life and read the Bible every day. I read a verse or a chapter, so I might be done by the time I'm 70. I'm not really hurrying the deal, but I'm reading it. This whole process of change in our church, in the year in which it's happened, is not only stressful to a lot of us, but I would like to believe for some people, it truly is telling them to trust, turn to, and rely on God. In conclusion, I'd like to add a flicker of faith to this testimony. So you're going to have to picture this in your mind for those of us who have seen this movie. And my wife loves this movie because I watch it about 50 to 100 times every year it comes on. So anyway, in the 1962 classic war movie, The Longest Day, for those of you who don't know, this tells the true stories of the men and women who fought on D-Day, June 6, 1944. Two of the stars were Red Buttons and John Wayne. Some of you remember, yeah. Red Button's character was Private John Steele of the 82nd Airborne Division, and John Wayne played Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Vandervoort, commanding officer of Steele's regiment. They meet in the town of St. Marie Église, where there still is a battle being fought. As the colonel is moving out to join the battle, Red Button's character says, "The old man sure has changed since yesterday." Then he pauses, or maybe it's us that have changed. Change isn't easy. It happens to us all the time. However, one thing is certain, God, the old man, doesn't and never will change. Thank you.